beautiful this view is. And this is my hotel room. It's not a hotel, it's an inn. It's run by, look at the shower. You see the view of the shower? The view of the shower is that bay. It's called Catchmick Bay. Don't worry, there is, for those of you who are concerned, there are curtains you can pull. It steams up so quickly anyway that you can't see anything. I've been staring out this bay, looking at just huge groups of otters. And you know, like the clouds over those mountains change minute by minute. So the scenery is actually always dramatically different, constantly just changing. I'm meeting my friend in hopefully a few minutes, actually probably about an hour, and we're going to have breakfast, and then we're going to join our hiking group, and I'm going to try to not, you'll be a little bit wobbly. I don't really have something to put this on. So anyway, I'm just going to do a few minutes of rambling and ranting with you. I actually brought a sketchbook along with me because I thought I would do a travel sketchbook, but most of what I have in there is pretty ugly. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. Most of the sketches are like 5-10 minute sketches. But it's all me trying to be Alaskan themed about things. I've tried to do views that I have, but they haven't come out very good. But I wanted to talk, and I'll show you the sketchbook even though everything is pretty shitty. Anyway, I wanted to talk about our expectations of sketchbooks, especially as beginner artists. We see all these sketchbook tours on YouTube, and they're absolutely stunningly gorgeous, page after page after page of stunning sketchbooks. Except, in my opinion, those are not actual sketchbooks. Those are finished pieces of work. I've noticed even beginner sketchbooks, they call it a beginner sketchbook, and you're like, well, I mean, you kind of spent a long time on that. And that's fine that you spend a long time of that, but it's still not, I don't know, it's still too good to be really, to me, a real sketchbook is like, and it has all of your practice doodles and drawings on there. So like if you're first learning how to draw a box, it would include every single ugly box that you drew on there. And I realize a lot of people are just going to do that on a printer paper. But then like once you've gotten super good at drawing boxes as a beginner artist, and then you put this wonderful box in your sketchbook, it's still a little bit more than just a sketchbook drawing. I mean, obviously you're probably not going to sell the picture of that box, but it's still more than just a sketchbook. For me, sketchbook is really where I learn how to draw. And so it includes all of the ugly artwork. And then I thought maybe one day if I really feel like doing it, maybe I'll do a sketchbook of my better pieces, so then I can flip through that sketchbook and feel good about myself. But then that's not a real sketchbook. That's more like, these are my finished pieces as a beginner artist book. And so that is where my rant is about, is these people claiming that these are sketchbooks, and my interpretation of sketchbook is this is where you learn things, but their interpretation of a sketchbook is I drew somewhere else and the pieces I liked, I decided to redraw here. Or I drew here, but I planned it extremely well, and I spent several hours on each page, in which case, to me, that just doesn't feel sketchbooky. That feels like finished workbook, finished art piece that you decided to arrange in a sketchbook. So that's why I kind of dislike sketchbook tours. I mean, I like them because I like to see the drawings, but I also don't like them because I'm like, sketchbook is a little too low of a term for what you're actually showing me, which is a finished piece of work. 80 straight pages of a finished piece of work. This is especially telling when somebody says, oh, this is the sketchbook I had for 2022, which means it took them 365 days to complete that sketchbook, which means they spent a lot of time on every single drawing in there, or every single spread. If you're spending 365 days completing one sketchbook, it's not really the sketchbook that I'm thinking of, which is a practice exploration sketchbook. So that's my rant. I wish there was a term that's one above sketchbook. I don't know. I wish they would just call it art book and not sketchbook, because those of us who are beginners, who we see those, we're just like, oh my God, but my sketches are so ugly. They're supposed to be ugly. They're supposed to be ugly because we're learning. I'm not really staring at the camera at my face because I just want to look at the scene outside because it's so beautiful. They're absolutely supposed to be ugly. And so don't forget that. If 95% of what's in your sketchbook is ugly, don't forget it. And you shouldn't, the way I see it, you shouldn't be, if you're a beginner artist, it shouldn't take you 365 days to go through like a A5 Royal Tannins 8x5-inch sketchbook. Honestly, you should probably finish that, I don't know, in like 4 to 8 weeks. That's my goal, is to finish it in 4 to 8 weeks. I'm halfway through my Alaska one, and I started it May 29th, and it's only June 12th. Oh, it's my cousin's birthday. I have to say happy birthday. And most of my shit sucks in the sketchbook, but I'm actually learning from it. I am learning from it. I'm also really proud of myself because I actually started sketching in public with this sketchbook. I even did it on the plane. I sketched on the plane, and I was so worried that the person next to me would look over my shoulders and start laughing and be like, aren't you embarrassed that you're doing this as an adult? And that she would grab my sketchbook and go up and down the aisle, jeering and laughing and showing it to everybody. And then everybody would look at it, and there would be like bursts of extra laughter, and there would be chaos on the plane because of how ugly my sketchbook was. And everybody would be like, are you not going to reevaluate your life? What are you doing? But she didn't grab my sketchbook. She didn't even look over my shoulders. And if she did look over my shoulders and she saw how ugly it was, and she was like, I'm not even going to touch that. And you know what? That's how people are. They don't actually give a fuck about what you're doing. They only really care about themselves and how they're perceived. They don't give a fuck about you and how you're perceived. So yes. They were ugly sketches, and I was really nervous, and I had no idea what to draw, and I was only using one pen, and it wasn't, I didn't have an eraser because it's a pen, but I was really proud of myself that I actually started in front of other people, complete strangers, sketching and not really caring what they thought. And then I flew from Anchorage to Homer, and in Homer's airport I sat there and sketching, and nobody was really near me. But I did like 7 or 8 sketches there while I was waiting. And I was so proud of myself, not because they were beautiful sketches, but just because I actually did it in public. So this just means in the future, when I get better and better at art, I will have already developed a reserve of embarrassing myself in public, or just being vulnerable in public and sketching. Okay, so that's my sketchbook rant. I just wanted to ramble about sketchbooks and beginner sketchbooks, and how beginner sketchbooks are and should be ugly, because that is where you learn to draw. I mean, I guess you could just take loose pieces of paper and keep drawing on there, and then once you get to a pretty level, then you can put the prettiness on your sketchbook. But then I feel like you're taking away from the definition of sketchbook. So as a beginner artist, those sketchbook papers, it's where I practice, where I learn. 95% of it is ugly. And in the future, like, a year or 2 years or 5 years from now, I'll be able to look at the sketchbooks and see how far along I've come. But if it's loose pieces of paper, most likely, if they're shitty drawings, I've thrown them away. I'm not going to keep loose pieces of paper around. I might get a paper cut, and I hate paper cuts. Okay. Thank you for listening to my rant. There's a big ship coming by. The landscape changes like minute by minute, with the clouds going by, and then the sun comes in and out, and then there's dark clouds and light clouds. I don't know if you could get tired of this scene. I don't know what it's like to live in a place like this, like every single day of your life, Do they get tired of it? I don't know. A lot of them probably don't. I think the people, this town, Homer, Alaska, only has 5,000 people in it. So it's a really tiny town. And some of those 5,000 people probably don't even live here during the wintertime. They probably have summer homes elsewhere. It's a huge fishing place, huge. Like, it's apparently the #1 fishing spot for halibut. They catch the most halibut here. I had really good halibut yesterday. It was like fried on a stick, and it was fish and chips, and it was absolutely delicious. I've had oysters almost every single day that I've been in Alaska. My goal is to just eat. Okay, so remember, if you're a beginner artist, you take out that ugly sketchbook and you make ugly sketches, and you ignore those dumb YouTubers that talk about their sketchbook tours when really it's finished art book tours. They should call it finished art book tour, not sketchbook. They're taking away the definition of sketchbook. They're taking away our rights to our sketchbook, and we must protest. Okay, I'm gonna finish my coffee and make sure I haven't left anything behind, and I think this thing needs to be charged as well. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And also let me know what your definition of a sketchbook is down below.